Well, this is now the first and only high-ranking military official so far, Francisco Yanes from Venezuela's Air Force, to de-recognize, essentially refuse to recognize what he called the dictatorial authority of Nicolás Maduro. And in a video message that was published early on Saturday, he declared his allegiance to Juan Guaido, the self-proclaimed interim president of the country. He also called on his compatriots to follow suit. He said they should all come out to the streets today and participate in the mass protests that are anticipated throughout the day across the country in support for Juan Guaido. Of course, other demonstrations will also take place in support of President Nicolás Maduro as well, but there are very much large crowds already coming out on the streets. You can see right where I am, and everybody seems to be holding their breath now, because this piece of information that just came out this morning is something that is very exciting for the opposition, for particularly these people who have been waiting for this moment, for some kind of change in the country. And something else interesting that Francisco Yanes said in the same message was that the democracy is imminent. He said the regime is about to change very quickly, because he said, according to his compatriots from the Air Force, there are 2 airplanes that belong to President Maduro that are stationed at an air base on standby. And for any time, he said, this is available for the president to leave the country, and he actually urged the president to do so as soon as possible. Now, this is a message that's been largely celebrated. I've been to this country many times. I really haven't seen so many happy faces smiling in the streets of Venezuela for a very long time. But as I've said, they're just holding their breath for now, because even though Yanes claims that 90% of the rest of the high-ranking leadership in the military are also against Maduro, we don't know if and when they might come out against him. And also we don't know if Yanes is still in the country or possibly left after his defection of the army, because we know that journalists were able to reach him on a Colombian cell phone. So the situation is very fluid. More information is coming on about what's happening in the military, about the marches, and we also anticipate some major announcements to be made today from Juan Guaido himself.
A lot happening there, it is. And tell us, do you think these 2 sets of marches are likely to meet on the streets of Caracas?
Well, we certainly expect these marches to, there is a certain route for definitely. It's starting on a certain position, and right where we are behind me, you could possibly see in the distance there is a stage. Now, this entire area is expected to be filled by the end of today. There's been large, very frequent advertisements on social media, and this was only about to start, expected to start after 11:12 at noon, and this is now only 10 a.m. local time, and there are already hundreds of people on the streets. Now, the concern is, of course, that in the past, some of these demonstrations have been heavily suppressed, and today people expect that once the demonstrations, and if there are still people outside come late afternoon, there is a concern that there could be heavy clashes with the security forces, who will be, of course, roaming this area. But don't forget, in other areas of the city, we do expect also Maduro supporters. We really have no clue how large they might get, but this is very much a standoff between the 2 presidents, between 2 rivals. They're trying to show which side has more support, in a way to not just appealing to the international community, but to the Venezuela's military itself.